Gurubhyo Namaha, Sarva Gurubhyo Namaha. Agnirnappatu krittikāha nakshatram devamindriyam idamāsām vichakshanam avirāsam juhotana rudyāsmahavyai namasopasadya mitram devam mitradeyannostu anurādhān havisha vardayamtah tatam jīvema sharadas savīrāha Mahim Devim Vishnupatni Majuryam Pratichi Me Nagam Havishaya Jamaha Treda Vishnurugayo Vichakrame Mahim Divam Pritivimam Tariksham Tatro Naitishravaichamana Punyagashklokam Yajamanaya Krinvati Kshatrasya Raja Varunodirajaha Nakshatranagam Shatavisagvasishtaha तौ देवेभ्यः कृणुतो दीर्घमायुः Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. These are selections from the Nakshatra Sukta of Krishna Yajurveda. This is Nakshatra Sukta is not found in Rig Veda. It is found only in the Krishna Yajurveda. Okay. So we had stopped here. Sve Sve Karmani Abhirataha Samsiddhim Labate Naraha Sakarma Niratas Siddhim Yata Vindati Tashruno. It said that he had talked about different functions depending on our inherent abilities and predispositions and what gives us bliss. And now he is going to say by doing that, Sve Sve Karmani Abhirataha, by practicing that, following what Abhirataha, what really inspires us to act, what we are tuned to act, by that we achieve success. Samsiddhim labate naraha. And I will tell you how it comes by doing swakarma. And swakarma nirataha, focused on one's own, whatever is tuned to one's own aspirations and aptitudes, how one attains success, I am going to tell you, he says. Let us see what he is going to tell. So first thing, yata pravurthir bhutanam ena sarvamidam tatam sakarmana tamabhyarchya siddhim vindati manavaha. So here he is telling that understanding, one finds fulfillment, siddhi, by working in harmony with sakarmana tam abhyarcham, working with harmony and dedicating to the Supreme. What is that? That Supreme is the one that pervades the entire universe and from which all creatures, all creations have arisen. In other words, you do what is of your aptitude, what you enjoy doing it. At the same time, dedicate it to the Supreme. After all, everything has come from the Supreme. All creation, we didn't create this world. So it came from the Supreme, having that kind of a dedication to the Supreme. Very similar to Brahmani Adaya Karmani. Earlier he had said, Brahmani Adaya Karmani Sangam Tyaktva Karoti Saha Lipyate Nasapapena Padma Patram Ivambasa, he had told. Now he is adding another feature to that. At that time says karma. He says Brahmani Adaya Karmani. Now he is saying that karma is do what you are inclined more, what you enjoy more. So that's what he is saying here. Yata pravritir bhutanam.
Yata pravritir bhutanam.
Yena sarvamidam tatam.
Yena sarvamidam tatam.
Swakarmana tamabhyarchya.
Swakarmana tamabhyarchya.
Siddhim vindati manavaha.
Siddhim vindati manavaha.
Saying that doing that itself is a archana. Like when you go to temple, we ask them to do archana to God, but he is telling that doing that itself is archana, dedicating it to the Supreme and doing what we enjoy. Okay, now he says, Shreyan swadharmo vigunaha paradharmat swanushthitat swabhava niyatang karma kurman napnoti kilvisham. This first two lines comes before also. Shreyan sadharmo vigunaha paradharma swanushthitat. There he says paradharmo bhayavaha. It says. श्रेयान् स्वधर्मो विगुणः परधर्मा स्वनुष्ठितात् Sadharme nidhanam shreyaha paradharmo bhayavaha. Like that he had told there. Now he is defining what sadharma really is. So doing one's own sadharma, even if it is vigunaha, even if it is not that glamorous, is better than following some other thing. Paradharma sanushtita. Trying to do some other thing which is not really suited to you, even sincerely trying to do that. So that is better to do your own, he says. So what is Swadharma? He defines in the next two lines. Swabhava niyatang karma. That is something which naturally comes to our Swabhava. Ordained by our own Swabhava. Swabhava niyatam karma. Kurvan napnoti kilbisham. Even indulging in that kind of action, there is no negativity. Kilbisham is guilt, bondage, distress, hassle, any of those things. If you enjoy what you are doing, even if it was not very successful, just the act of doing what you enjoyed itself is good. So that's why there is no anxiety. Kilbisham means here you can see it as sin, evil, bondage, distress, hassle, nothing like that. Sometimes something you are not interested in doing, you're doing it in a very dejected way. I have to do that like that. In that case, if it didn't work, also I unnecessarily struggled doing something I didn't even enjoy, and you feel even more bad. But here, if you do try to do what you enjoy, then there is no blemish in that. Shreyan swadharmo vigunaha
Shreyan swadharmo vigunaha
paradharmat sanushtitat
paradharmat swanushtitat
स्वभावनियतं कर्म
स्वभावनियतं कर्म
कुर्वन् आपनोति किल्बिषम्.
कुर्वन्नाप्नोति किल्बिषम्.
In PNG, I used to tell people, because Procter & Gamble is a very wide company of different kinds of activities of different levels, from upstream research to downstream to sales to different kinds. I used to tell people, try to do what you enjoy. Sometimes it is not possible. Try to learn to enjoy what you do. Otherwise, it's a wasted time. There's always so many avenues. Try to drift yourself into an area which is more enjoyable to you. That was the same philosophy I used. I always stayed in an area which I enjoyed. I never advanced in the company I enjoyed, because I was only enjoying until they figured out I'm enjoying too much. I was able to stay for 24 years. Then they figured out this guy is having too much fun, and then they let me go. So I could have gone other areas and I advanced and done a lot of things. In fact, my manager told me that staying in the same area in R&D upstream, it is very difficult, because R&D upstream produces very little products really. And a lot of time in a company like they like the one which made money, with new profit was made. Those are the people who advance more. Or somebody made a fine looking package, how it is packed, and because they all make impressions, they make add to the bottom line. But if you're doing something upstream and enjoying, all the profit is only for you, nothing for the company much. But it just they're hoping something will come out, right? So sometimes my boss used to tell, if you change to some other area, you can advance much faster. Because I used to make fun with him that the Jewish people, as you know, in the Exodus, they escaped only one Passover, right? Only one time they escaped the Passover. I told my boss, I've escaped Passover for almost 40 times, I told. Because each year we are evaluated and we can be basically fired. But I told him that I'm more Jewish than any Jewish people, because they escaped Passover only once, even though they wandered for 40 years to find their promised land. In my case, I didn't wander. I just escaped Passover 40 times. Anyway, so one time, let's do this verse one more time. Shreyan swadharmo vigunaha
Shreyan swadharmo vigunaha
paradharma swanushthitat
paradharmat swanushtitat
स्वभावनियतं कर्म
स्वभावनियतं कर्म
कुर्वन्नाप्नोति किल्बिषम्.
kurvannapnoti kilbisham.
Next verse he says, then he talks about Sahajang karma kaunteya sadhosham api natyajet sarvarambahi doshena dhumena agni rivavritaha. He says that it is natural, sahaja, it's very natural. Any karma we do, Arjuna, Kaunteya, there is always some negativity in that. Still, we should not let it go. Sadosham api natyajit. There is no work in this world. It does not come with some negativity. What was the negativity in Procter and Gamble for me? Every month we have to attend safety meetings. There is almost some bookkeeping you have to do, which is kind of a boring thing. But if you skip the safety meeting and also many safety tests, online tests you have to take periodically every 3 months or every 6 months, a bunch of almost 20 different tests will be there, and how you deal with contractors, how you deal with your collaborators, all those things. That is it okay to accept bribe? They gave you $50 bribe. Is it right or wrong? All this kind of things. So those are all because you get bored of those things, and you should not not resign from work because of that. See, there is nothing like anything without no rose without a thorn, right? Like that. So even then we should not, because sarvarambahi doshena, all of them, any kind of activity has some dosha associated with it. How just like smoke and fire are there together. There's always some smoke with the fire, right? Especially there was a lot of smoke in our bathroom growing up. We had the typical firewood kind of oven, and there is more smoke than flame. All that, but without that you won't have hot water anyway. So sahajang karma kaunteya
Sahajam karma kaunteya
sadoshamapi natyajet
sadoshamapi natyajet
sarvarambahi doshena
sarvarambhahi doshena
dhumena agnirivavrutaha.
dhumeghnani rivavrutah.
धूमेन अग्नि इव आवृताः धूमेन अग्नि इव आवृताः धूमेनाग्निरिवावृताः.
Dhumenagni rivavrutah.
Yeah, very good. A lot of time this sadosham will be there for any work. So if you are doing a work we really don't enjoy, that sadosham itself looks mahadosham, becomes a big problem. First of all, I hate what I am doing. On the top of that, this negative thing is also there. So it's something you enjoy, a little bit of negative things as sadosham you don't mind. Obviously, a physician or a doctor gets a lot more reward for the same amount of work they do. I mean, same hours of work. But they are also on call. They may have to get up in the midnight and go, right? Or somebody, they have to at least attend to their patients like that. And another example is there are people like my eldest brother. He doesn't even like to leave home. No matter he has not even gone to Kormangala has Fortune Mall, right? Fortune or some mall like that. He has never been to a mall. We live in second block, Janagar. He went to go. He said, why? I'm not interested. I don't want to go. Koromangala, road, traffic, like this, he was telling. Because he's not interested in seeing the mall. If he's really interested, it doesn't matter. He will even walk to it if he's really interested, right? Like that. Same way, he doesn't like to come abroad. Because coming abroad you have to get a passport first, then you have to get a passport office, passport picture, you have to apply for that, then visa, you have to go and stand in front of American consulate or online. You don't know tossing a coin or they give or not, all this, everything. And then you go to airport, you have to go to the TSA security check, so many, right? And you may get food you don't like in the flight. Everything becomes a problem, every step of it. So that is the thing. Sahajang karma kaunteya
Sahajam karma kaunteya
sadoshamapi natyajet
sadoshamapi natyajet
sarvarambahi doshena
sarvarambhahi doshena
dhumena agnirivavritaah.
dhumenagni rivavrutah.
Next is now he says asakta buddhim sarvatra jitatma vigata sprihah naishkarmya siddhim paramam sannyasena gachati. Now he says that But one who masters himself acts but is not really attached to it. Masters himself and is free from desires and attachment. Asakta buddhihi jitatma vigata not that's a kind of a person through renunciation transcends all bondages first. It's almost like Naishkarmya Siddhi. Even though this person is acting, it's the same kind of a thing as though he did not do anything. It's almost like a sannyasi. He's a karma yogi, but still is like a sannyasi. So one who masters himself in the art and is free from desires and attachment attains supreme perfection through renunciation and transcends all bondages of action. So he understood no bondage for that person, almost like a sannyasi. There are a lot of people, he was fully living in a family life, not sannyasi, running away, fully acting. When they get the title, he was like sannyasi, not like that. Asakta buddhi sarvatra
Asakta buddhi sarvatra
jitatma vigata spriha
jitatma vigata spruha
naishkarmya siddhim paramam
naishkarmya siddhim paramam
sannyasena
sanyasenadhigacchati.
This is siddhim prapto yatha brahma tatapnoti nibodha me samasenaiva kaunteya nishtha gnanasya yapara. Here he says that now I explain to you, listen how. Um, one who one who has attained perfection also attained Brahman. So always attaining Brahman means you are always in supreme joy. Yes. Brahmati ramate chittam nandati nandatyaiva. Any action you are doing, if you can connect yourself to the Supreme, then you are really rejoicing. So how you can do that, he says here. Siddhim prapto yatha brahma
Siddhim prapto yadha brahma
tatapnoti nibodhame
tadapnoti nibodhame
samasenaiva kaunteya
samasenaiva kaunteya
nishtha gnanasya yapara.
nishta gnanasya yapara.
When you're doing that, you are always enjoying. You're always in a mode of you're like a retired person. I even made fun in PNG that when I retired in 2021, I told them I was basically retired in 1988 itself. Only thing is, this retirement comes without paycheck. And I never took the this vacation they gave me more than I was forced to take. If you don't, they used to give us, depending on years of service, you get 3 weeks, 2 weeks, 4 weeks, or whatever. But you can only carry over only 1 or 2 weeks because they want you to take vacation. They want you to go and waste your money. So they like to enjoy. It is good for business, good for everything. They somehow felt that people who take vacation will come back and do more. In my case, it did not matter. Even if I don't go on vacation, I did not do anything much useful for company. If I did not take also or took also, it did not matter. So that is just a general feeling they had. So when you feel like relaxed, you're enjoying what you're doing, it is like in a state of joy. Only thing is, I did not know that I should not let the company know that I am enjoying. You should always be, I should have done that. Telugu people are very good in that. Unfortunately, they'll be enjoying, but they'll always be grumbling and crying like I think like that. I think that was a mistake I made. You should never let know your boss that you are enjoying. It's always good to pretend to go with a little bit of a castor oil face. It's always good. Siddhim prapto yatha brahma
Siddhim prapto yadha brahma
yathapnoti nibodhame
tadhapnoti nibodhame
samasenaiva kaunteya
samasenaiva kaunteya
nishtha gnanasya ya para.
nishta gnanasya yapara.
बुद्ध्या विशुद्धया युक्तो धृत्यात्मानं नियम्य च शब्दादीन् विषयान् त्यक्त्वा रागद्वेषौ युधस्य च. Here is telling that with a clear reasoning, buddhya vishuddhaya, with a clear meaning, you are united, right? Endowed with clear reasoning and self-restraint, dhrityatma and niyamyacha, it relinquishes, like buddhya with reasoning only, one relinquishes all the sensations while remaining impartial and selfless. You're not bothered by any of the negatively, you're not impacted negatively by any of the sensations, right? Relinquishes sound and all other sensations while remaining impartial and selfless. I never paid any attention to any gossip. I was hard of hearing anyway. So I was the last one to know any company gossip. So I was kind of relinquishing sound, any kind of sound. I was not really bothered by that. And all other sensations. I did not bother who broke up with who or who is dating who, none of those things. That's why I was the last one to know any of those things. So by doing like that, it clear firm restraint, um, and remaining impartial and selfless. That way you don't have any enemy, you don't hate anyone there. Um, like that. Buddhya vishuddhaya yukto
बुद्ध्या विशुद्ध्या युक्तो
dhrityatmanam niyamya cha
धृत्यात्मानं नियम्य च
shabdadin vishayans tyaktva
शब्दादीन् विषयान् त्यक्त्वा
ragadveshau vidasya cha.
रागद्वेषौ युधस्य च.
The funny thing is, I worked for Procter and Gamble, but we go to some parties, lot of other people from other different companies. They know a lot more about Procter and Gamble politics. They know who is vice president. I didn't even know who the damn CEO was, because they were telling that so and so will become CEO. I think he will be advanced and something like that. I think this time they will have an Indian CEO. All these things. I didn't even know that these guys were there like that. So all the sounds I had avoided. Soundly I had avoided sounds. So Krishna is saying the same thing. Endowed with clear reasoning and firm restraint, he relinquishes sound and all other sensations while remaining impartial and selfless. So sometimes I used to look like stupid because people who don't even work for our company, they know more about it, and who is advancing, who is becoming VP, who is becoming a director, all those things. I think Gita really ruined me in a way. विविक्तसेवी लघ्वाशी यतवाक्काय मानसः ध्यानयोगपरो नित्यं वैराग्यं समुपाश्रितः. Now living in it, I did not do. Living in solitude, this person eats lightly and regulates his body. I did not follow this verse. Regulates his body, mind, and speech through meditation. So none of this I did. This sloka, I can delete it from Gita. But this is his thing. So living, this kind of a person is saying, living in solitude, he eats lightly and regulates his body, mind, and speech through meditation. So Vivikta Sevi Lagwashi
विविक्तसेवी लघ्वाशी
Yatavakkaya Manasaha
यतवाक्काय मानसः
Dhyana Yoga Paro Nityam
ध्यानयोगपरो नित्यं
Vairagyam Samupashtritaha.
वैराग्यं समुपाश्रितः.
Because for me, I enjoy food, I enjoy talk, I enjoy company. Then, of course, I don't mind if I don't have company. I can be very happy with my own company also. So he says solitude, that is possible, but eating lightly is not possible for me. Body, mind, I can regulate body, mind, but speech I cannot. I cannot keep my mouth shut. I am a Toastmaster. So when I joined Toastmaster in 1985, I visited 1989, I went to India. 1993, my dad passed away. So 1989, I told him that I joined this Toastmaster club, and what do you guys do there? I told him this is for helping to communicate, speech, give talk, and things like that. My dad looked at me. Isn't there a club which helps you to keep your mouth shut there? I told him. He should join that one. That's the right club for you. He said. Anyway, so did we do this, Loka?
Yes.
Ahankaram balandharpam kamam krodam parigraham vimuchya nirmamashanto brahma bhuyaya kalpate. This is continued, the same person, the kind of person he was talking about. So free from ego and no dharpam, no balam, that doesn't feel greed, here, no kama, no krodha, no arrogance, no possessiveness, no parigraham, and all those things possess. He is at peace with himself. Vimuchya nirmama shanto, no mamakaram, anything like that. Such a person is fit to become one with Brahman. Brahma bhuyaya kalpate. So free from ego, then greed, desire, arrogance, anger, aggression, and possession. Such a person is at peace with himself and others. And such a person is fit to become one with Brahman. So Brahman definitely likes that kind of people. Ahankaram balam dharpam
Ahamkaram balam darpam
kamam krodham parigraham
kamam krodham parigraham
vimuchya nirmamashanto
vimuchya nirmamashyanto
brahma bhuyaya kalpate.
brahma bhuyaya kalpate.
If we can be like that, we are already in the state of Brahman, right? So, ब्रह्मभूत प्रसन्नात्मा न शोचति न काङ्क्षति समः सर्वेषु भूतेषु मद्भक्तिं लभते पराम्. So this is a little bit like a chapter 12, what kind of bhakta, right? In the serenity of oneness, prasannatma, unmoved by sadness or anxiety, na shochati, na kankshati, such a person treating everyone in the same manner, sama sarveshu bhuteshu, he gains utmost devotion to the Supreme. Madbhaktim labate param, such a person. So Brahma Bhuta is absorbed in the Brahman, such a person. Brahma Bhutaha, prasanna is tranquil. So in that serenity of oneness, unmoved by sadness or anxiety, na shochati, na kankshati, samas sarveshu bhuteshu, treats everyone equally, and he gains utmost devotion. Madbhaktim labate param, utmost devotion to me. Brahma Bhuta prasannatma
Brahma bhuta prasannatma
न शोचति न काङ्क्षति
na shochati na kankshati
समः सर्वेषु भूतेषु
samah sarveshu bhuteshu
मद्भक्तिं लभते पराम्.
madbhaktim labhate param.
भक्त्या मामभिजानाति यावन्यश्चास्मि तत्त्वतः ततो मां तत्त्वतो ज्ञात्वा विशते तदनन्तरम्. So again, he continues, such a person realizes the essential nature of Supreme, Mam Abhijanati, the Supreme, through that ultimate devotion. After knowing the fundamental truth, he is instantly united with the Supreme. So, tadanantanam, vishate tadanantanam, tato mam tattvato gnatva, having known that, is united with the Supreme, with the fundamental truth. After that, vishate tadanantanam. After that, he enters complete understanding, united with the Supreme. Bhaktya mam abhijanati
Bhaktya mam abhijanati
yavan yaschasmi tattvataha
yavan yaschashmi tattvataha
tato ma tattvato gnatva
tato mam tattvato jnatva
vishate tadanantaram.
vishate tadanantaram.
सर्वकर्माण्यपि सदा कुर्वाणो मद्व्यपाश्रयः मत्प्रसादादवाप्नोति शाश्वतं पदमव्ययम्. So here it is that is actually madhyapashrayah is trusting me, totally surrendering in me, trusting me. That means madhyapashrayah. So even with constantly engaged, sarva karmani sada, even with fully engaged in the action, all the time fully enjoyed in the action, activities, by taking refuge in the Supreme, Madhyapashraya, he will reach the eternal. Matprasadat shashvatam padamavyam, reaches the eternal, imperishable state. Such is the divine grace. Matprasada, that is the kind of prasada, avapnoti. You're buying, even my acting all the time. It doesn't have to withdraw and go away to Himalayas or anything like that. It's a state of mind, fully engaged in action, even with constantly engaged in action. Sarvata vartamanopi, many times that comes in Gita. Here, same way, sarva karmanyapi sada, even while doing apisada, in worldly activities, by taking refuge in the Supreme, Madhyapashraya, Kurvano, he will reach that eternal, imperishable state. Such is the divine grace. Sarva karmanyapi sada,
सर्वकर्माण्यपि सदा
Kurvano madhyapashraya,
कुर्वाणो मध्यपाश्रयः
madhyapashraya, madhyapashraya.
मद्वेयपाश्रयः
Yeah, it is Dva and yeah, madhyapashraya. Matprasadat avapnoti
मत्प्रसादात् वाप्नोति
shashvatam padamavyayam.
शाश्वतं पदमव्ययम्
चेतसा सर्वकर्माणि मयि सन्न्यस्य मत्परः बुद्धियोगमुपाश्रित्य मच्चित्तः सततं गता. Now with firm understanding, chetasa sarva, regarding me as the supreme, matprasadat, right? Machchittaha satatam, always in understanding regarding me as the supreme, think of me always and consciously dedicating your action to me. So with firm understanding regarding me as the supreme, chetasa is willfully, not because somebody else told, willfully dedicating all activities regarding with firm understanding, thinking of me always during all activities and consciously dedicating your action to me regarding me as the supreme. So that's what he's advising. Do these things with firm understanding, regard me as the supreme, think of me always and consciously dedicate your actions to me. Basically, he's repeating the same thing he had told before, right? Yat karoshi, yadashnasi, yajjuhoshi dadasiyat, yat tapasyasi kaunteya, tat kurushva madarpanam. The same, as I said, chapter 18, lot of summarizing the earlier concepts. Chetasa sarva karmani
चेतसा सर्वकर्माणि
मयि सन्न्यस्य मत्परः
मयि संन्यस्य मत्परः
बुद्धियोगमुपाश्रित्य.
बुद्धियोगमुपाश्रित्य
Basically, you reasoned out like that, right? Machchittah satatam gata.
मच्चित्तः
Satatam bhava. Machchittah satatam bhava.
मच्चित्तः सततं भव
Machchittah sarva durgani matprasadat tarishyasi. Ata chetvam ahankarat nashyoshyati vinangshati. So now he is telling him, basically, think of me always, all the time, and you shall. Sarva Durgani means during all obstacles. Durga is usually obstacles also, impediments, things like that. All the impediments you will overcome. Okay. Think of me always, and you shall overcome every hurdle, Sarva Durgani, because of Matprasada, because of my grace. But out of arrogance, if you refuse to listen to me, you will perish. The second part is atachetvam ahankarat. By arrogance, don't listen to this. You refuse to listen to me. Nashroshasi, don't listen to me. Vinangshasi, you will be lost. You will perish. So he's giving the negative aspect of not listening to his advice. So machitta sarva durgani
मच्चित्तः सर्वदुर्गाणि
matprasadat tharishyasi.
मत्प्रसादात् ऋष्यसि
Matprasadat tarishyati. Matprasadat tarishyasi. Matprasadat tarishyati. Matprasadat tarishyasi.
मत्प्रसादात् तरिष्यसि
Ata chetvam ahankarat.
अथ चेत्त्वमहङ्कारान्
Actually, yeah, when you split it, becomes ahankarat. That's okay. Ahankarat nashroshyasi vinangshasi.
न श्रोष्यसि विनक्ष्यसि
Vinakshasi. Yeah. Actually, very only in this chapter you said grace. Prasada is coming. My grace.
Yeah.
Yadahankaram ashritya nayotsya iti manyate mityaisha vyavasayaste prakritistvam niyokshyati. Here he says the out of ahankara, taking refuge in yate ahankaram ashritya, taking refuge in arrogance or ego. Nayotsya iti manyase. If you think I am not going to engage in battle, that will be mityaisha vyavasayaste. That would not be, that resolution is conceited. It's a mithyachara. It's a hypocrisy. Mithyachara is the word used for hypocrisy. So miti yeshaha vyavasayaste. So basically, it is that is not a real uh, resolution. It's a hypocritical resolution. It is not real resolution. So mithya is, it's a conceited, untrue resolution. The reason because is prakriti stvam, your prakriti itself, you are a kshatriya. Niyokshati, that itself, it will command you because you're a natural warrior. That will, even if you decide for whatever out of ego, because I decided I did not want to fight. In chapter 1, how he was telling, if you do that, basically you are cheating yourself. Your own nature will not allow you that. It will command you to act. Even if you walk away from that, just 5 minutes or 10 minutes, even after you have walked for a mile or two, oh, I should have really fought, you will feel. Yadahankaram ashritya
यदहङ्कारम् आश्रित्य
nayotsya iti manyase
नयोत्स्य इति मन्यसे
mityaisha vyavasayaste
मिथ्यैष व्यवसायस्ते
prakritistvam niyokshyati.
प्रकृतिस्त्वां नियोष्यति.
Yeah, like so many, he's telling Swabhava Netam Karma. So your Swabhava is really to fight. So that is your Prakriti. So what was happening to Arjuna was a transient Vikriti. It is a transient, what we call as a kind of a lapse of mind at that time, right? It's a Swabhavajena Kaunteya Nibhaddhasvena Karmana Karthum Nechasi Yanmohat Karishyasya Vashopitat. Yes, due to ignorance, if you born out of one's own nature, suppose if you violate what is born out of your own nature, right? Due to ignorance, you may desire not to fight. Yet you will be compelled by your own nature, because your swabhava, to do so against your will. So, not walking away from this battle is against your own nature. So we are all obliged to act in accordance with our own inherent nature. Even if there is a transient insanity to not do that, but we really want to do that. Right? Swabhavajena kaunteya
स्वभावजेन कौन्तेय
nibhaddhasvena karmana
निबद्धः स्वेन कर्मणा
kartam nechasi yanmohat
कर्तुं नेच्छसि यन्मोहात्
karishyasya vashopitat.
करिष्यस्य वशोऽपि तत्.
ईश्वरः सर्वभूतानां हृद्देशे अर्जुन तिष्ठति भ्रामयन् सर्वभूतानि यन्त्रारूढानि मायया. This is a beautiful verse. This is same as sarvasya chaham hridhi sannivishto, the same part in chapter 15:15. So Ishvara, the Lord, is in the heart of everyone, resides close. Hriddeshu Arjuna tishtati. Arjuna, the Lord, Ishvara, resides equally in the hearts of all beings. And by Maya, Brahmayan Sarvabhutani Yantra Rudhani Maya, by the divine Maya, divine force of illusion, divine force of illusion, Maya causes them to move about as though Yantra Rudhani Maya, as though they are driven by a machine. So while all beings are animated by Maya, in other words, by divine grace, the Supreme is not responsible for their thoughts and action. Because you may ask that if the God is one sitting in our heart and running us like a machine, right? He is the engine. So why do we do things against? Why does he let us do bad things? So basically what we have to think here is, even though I am residing in equally in the hearts of all, and by Maya accustomed to move about as though driven by a machine, he's telling, right? If they ask the question, if he's the one driving force, then why are we driven in wrong ways? Why do we do those things? So we have to think about like this. Think of him, God residing in our heart like an electric current, electricity. Without electricity, nothing works, right? So what we do with it is different. We may watch TV, we do something on computer. Even on the TV, what we watch is different, right? We may watch some some good thing or some bad thing or some pornography, whatever. It doesn't, current does not discriminate. Whatever channel you shift, it will work. It doesn't say, hey, stop it here like that. It doesn't say that. There may be some warning on the screen. This is meant only for adult. This is not universal and things like that. But still, the current will still work like that. Ishvara sarva bhutanam
ईश्वरः सर्वभूतानां
hriddeshe arjuna tishtati
उद्देशेऽर्जुन तिष्ठति
bravayan sarva bhutani
भ्रामयन् सर्वभूतानि
yantrarudani mayaya.
यन्त्रारूढानि मायया.
They kind of reflecting the same word, right? Nadatte kasyachit papam nachaiva sakrutam vibhu agnane navratam gnanam tena mushyanti jantavaha. I don't administer anything. It is just people, they react to that. Like we cannot blame uh, Henry Ford for putting car on American streets if someone went and did the drunken driving or someone gets hurt like that. So like that, same way the Lord is sitting in our heart, but it is up to us how we behave. Tamev sharanam gaccha sarvabhavena bharata tvatprasadat param shantim sthanam prapsasi shashvatam. So he says that what is residing in our own heart, surrender to that. Tameva sharanam gaccha, to him alone with your whole being, and by his grace you will attain the state of eternal peace. So when we resort, what we dedicate to, if we surrender to, and through that we'll attain state of eternal peace. Tameva sharanam gaccha
तमेव शरणं गच्छ
sarvabhavena bharata
सर्वभावेन भारत
tatprasadat paran shantim
तत्प्रसादात् परं शान्तिं
sthanam prapsasi shashvatam.
स्थानं प्राप्स्यसि शाश्वतम्.
इति ते ज्ञानमाख्यातं गुह्यात् गुह्यतरं मया विमृश्यैतदशेषेण यथेच्छसि तथा कुरु. This is a very important here. Yethechasi tatha kuru. Whatever I have said, vimrishyai tadateshena. I have told you a lot of secret. Guhyat guhyataram maya. I have told you the secrets of secrets. I taught you the wisdom that is the greatest of all secrets. Reflect deeply. Vimrishyai tad asheshena. Without anything. Fully reflect on those teachings and then do as you please. I have taught you itite gnanamakyānam kushyat kushyatanam maya. Now you basically think about what all I have done, what all I have taught you, right? Reflect upon it. Do vivrishe and then do whatever you feel is right. Itite gnanamakyātam
इति ते ज्ञानमाख्यातं
kushyat kushyataram maya
गुह्याद् गुह्यतरं मया
vimrishyetadasheshena
विमृश्येत दशेषेण
यथेच्छसि तथा कुरु.
यथेच्छसि तथा कुरु.
निस्य सर्वगुह्यतमं भूयः शृणु मे परमं वचः इष्टोऽसि मे दृढमिति ततो वक्ष्यामि ते हितम्. One more time he enforces, listen again to my final word. Shruну me paramam vachaha, my final supreme words, the greatest secret of all, sarva guhyatamam bhuyaha. Bhuyaha, again, listen to that. And I shall repeat what is good for you because you are dear to me. Ishtosi me dridamiti tato vakshyamite hitam. I will repeat to you what is good for you because you are dear to me. Sarva guhyatamam bhuyaha.
सर्वगुह्यतमं भूयः
शृणु मे परमं वचः
शृणु मे परमं वचः
दृष्टोऽसि मे दृढमिति
इष्टोऽस्मि से दृढमिति
ततो वक्ष्यामि ते हितम्.
ततो वक्ष्यामि ते हितम्.
So now he is telling what he should do. Manmana bhava madbhakto madhyajima namaskuru mame vaishyasi satyante pratijhane priyosi me. It's also very similar verse are there in chapter 9. So fix your mind on me, be devoted to me. Uh, Madbhakta, Manmana, fix your mind, become my devotee, Madhyaji, make every act. Madhyaji mam namaskuru and bow to me. Make every act an offering to me, bow to me, and you shall certainly come to me. Mame vaishyasi satyante. And I promise to you, because priyosi me, you are my dear to me, you are dear to me. So fix your mind on me, be devoted to me, make every act an offering to me, bow down to me, then you shall certainly come to me. This I promise, for you are dear to me. Manmana bhava madbhakto
मन्मना भव मद्भक्तो
madhyajima namaskuru
मध्याजीमां नमस्कुरु
mame vaishyasi satyante
मामे वैश्यसि सत्यन्ते
pratijane priyosi me.
प्रतिजाने प्रियोऽस्मि सिमे.
So this is a kind of a considered as the Charma Shloka. Sarvadharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja ahantva sarva papebhyo moksha ishyami ma shuchaha. So here is saying that giving up all dharma, sarva dharman parityajya, giving up all other dharma, this is also a dharma, refuge also, giving up all other dharma, mam ekam sharanam vraja, surrender to me alone. I will liberate you. Ahantva sarva papebhyo, from all your calamities, all your sins, and moksha ishyami, liberate you. Ma shuchaha, don't grieve. So here dharma is used in the widest sense of the word. Law, virtue, support, ethics, religion, duty, path, etc. After explaining all the various paths, Krishna finally gives a simple path to liberation. Right? The path of surrender to the Supreme. This path is readily accessible to everyone without the need for an organized religion or mediator. Right? It is free from rules and distinction. Giving up dharma refers to moving away beyond everything. Dharma atita in a way, compared to the divine presence in the universe, the highest dharma, and its assurance for ready liberation, all other dharmas invariably become insignificant. Basically, it took away all the middlemen, all the middle mediators, none of them. You sincerely follow this verse, right? So this is Sarvadharman Parityajya
सर्वधर्मान् परित्यज्य
Mam Ekam Sharanam Vraja
मामेकं शरणं व्रज
Ahantva Sarva Papebhyo
अहं त्वा सर्वपापेभ्यो
Moksha Ishyami Ma Shuchaha.
मोक्षयिष्यामि मां शुचः.
Yeah, so this one combined, if you look at the concluding portion of chapter 9 verses, right? Apichet duracharo bhajate mam ananyabhak sadureva samantavyaha samyak vyavasito hi saha kshipram bhavati dharmatma shashvachantim nigacchati kaunteya pratijanihi name bhakta pranashyati. All those verses. Mami parthavyapashritya epi asyu papayonayaha Striyo Vaishya Tata Shudraha Tepeyati Parangatim. All that continues. This is like that. Sarva Dharma is kind of repeating the same thing. Once you surrender to me, once you look up to me, I will take care of you. Right? This kind of promise was never there earlier. Only in Ramayana, Rama says, whoever surrenders to me, I will protect them. But this kind of a open declaration you see only in Bhagavad Gita. So this is a that's why you don't need any complicated things if you are able to do this. We'll do this one more time. Sarvadharman parityajya
सर्वधर्मान् परित्यज्य
mam ekam sharanam vraja
मामेकं शरणं व्रज
aham tva sarva papebhyo
अहं त्वा सर्वपापेभ्यो
moksha ishyami ma shuchaha.
मोक्षयिष्यामि मा शुचः.
So we have just few more verses left. I will stop here. We will take it up tomorrow. So I will stop here and open up for any comments by Hari and our middleman. No, no, not like that. Here, any comments by others?
I think this 63rd shloka is the one which distinguishes Gita from other scriptures and other religions in some sense, because there is a ready assurance for, there is openness to uh, evaluate something on our own. Because we have the Jnana Marga in our tradition, it makes it stand apart from many other religions which are purely faith based. So this Jnana Marga is something which is, I think, remarkable in our tradition, and it's not something which is accessible to everybody as well. Of course, only few people can take the Jnana Marga, but this assurance is something which is very good. And also, if you see one interesting thing when he says, when he told Arjuna that you will not be able to walk away from the war even if you wish to, because your fundamental nature is for dharma, and this is a dharma yuddha, and you will, like you said, no, you may walk 10 steps away, after that you will repent, you will come back. Whereas in the case of Balarama, when he decided that he doesn't want to fight the war, Krishna never told him, because his fundamental nature is that of a lazy person who is, enjoying life and sense pleasures and getting drunk and playing gambling and things like that. So he would not feel any remorse if he didn't fight the war. So it would not be a wrong decision for Balarama to give up the war, because it is in line with his nature. Whereas Arjuna and Pandavas, being dharmic, it is not in their nature to let go of something when something is going wrong or going against dharma. To just walk away is not their nature. So in that sense, we should take this particular thing to Arjuna as a general message for everybody, that when we try to do something outside of our nature, we will be compelled to go back to it. So sometimes, for example, when somebody is very good in music or dance or painting, when they reach the 12th grade, they have to study for their IIT exams or a medical entrance or something, and they get into engineering or law or medicine. But many years later, they have that somewhere that calling that I have to go back to music or painting or whatever, and they are forced to go there by their nature. It would have been 15 years, 20 years, but somewhere it may be hidden and they go back to that. So whatever is our nature, if we don't fight that, we can be happy. So if a person is really wanting to do some particular activity, but is compelled not to do that because of family or profession or other constraints, they are always going to have a strand of melancholy in them. Whereas if they are doing what they like to do, there is a good opportunity, good chance that they will be more in a state of happiness. So yeah, these are very, very beautiful shlokas in the last part of the Gita.
That's what they say. Your ladder should not be on the wrong wall, right? Because you may ascend it and you find out that's not where you want it to be. Any other comments? Or it's funny. We have in PNG, we used to have what is called as a um, 3 point, like your boss, yourself, your boss's boss. We three discuss about what our future, what we want to do, and things like that. Can you hear me?
Yeah, something like a Shraddha protocol.
Yeah, it's like it's like Shraddham Tara. Vasu Rupam, Rudra Rupam, and Aditya Rupam. Three. So three will discuss. Then they will ask what you want to do, where you want to go, all those things. The same thing as I told you before that I'm a big Jew, living Jew, right? It 40 Passovers. And director was telling that, PNG, if you want to advance, you should be in different areas. Then only you will advance. If you just sit in the same chair doing same thing, you will really won't advance that easily, unless something happens, some mystery happened, you discovered something. Uh, then I told him they had worked for 20 years by then. This 20 years I worked. It's not a single day I felt it was boring to come to work. And my director said, I wish I could tell that. He said, he has been coming for 20 years. Basically thinking, cursing. Because I have to do this, I have to do this dirty job, I have to fire this guy or discuss with that guy or take care of some maintenance or some elevator not working. So all those things, that kind of job, although his training was something else, when you become director, you do totally different things, right? So in cafeteria, somebody found a rat in their soup or whatever, everything you have to take care of. You get into a different kind of area. You're not really cut for that. But of course, he was making 3 or 4 times more salary than me. He was getting stock awards, all those things. But that is sadosham api na tyajet. So I was clinging on to that. Anyway.
Yeah, I think sometimes one of the big questions, even in the corporate world, is that whether to stick with something that you like to do or go to some place which gives you greater promises and bigger opportunities. One of the line of reasoning that people have is they say, "Oh, I will do something I don't like for now, so that I can earn a lot of money and I can retire by 40, and then I can do whatever I want." But often that doesn't happen because it is something that one has to cultivate. Even if you suddenly get all the stock options and everything and retire at 40, if you have not trained yourself in another field, you just end up blowing up your money rather than enjoying your life, which is a totally different thing.
That's true. Yeah. So today we'll talk a little bit more about Sarvadharma and Parityajya. Like there are different paths for liberation promoted by different acharyas, right? Shankaracharya stressed on gnana and Madhvacharya stressed on bhakti. Interestingly, no acharya stressed on karma yoga, to my knowledge. Maybe Hari can correct me if that is true. Only Sai Baba, maybe.
So I think Tilak was one of the people who wrote a commentary purely from, I mean, really focusing on the karma part of it.
Yeah, who?
In Bal Gangadhar Tilak,
Gangadhar
Yeah,
Tilak.
Tilak.
Yeah.
Okay, Tilak.
yeah,
Okay,
he wrote this Gita Rahasya,
uh-huh.
and that was, I mean, more focused on karma, I think.
Karma,
I have
okay.
not read it, but it's what I've heard.
But Ramanujacharya focused on this verse,
Just the
Saranagati,
tapati. Yeah.
not Bhakti, not even Bhakti, it is Saranagati. Actually, Vedanta Deshikar, all of them say, I am incapable of Bhakti, incapable of Gnana, only Saranagati. So that is the sect we both
I,
belong
did,
to.
I don't think he was a fan of Uddhared Atmanatmanam. No,
So that was all the different choices so people made from the same book. Anyway, so let us complete the class today. Then see you tomorrow. Sarve bhavantu sukhinah. Sarve santu niramayaः. Sarve bhadrani pashyantu. Ma kaschit dukkhapat bhavet. Yato dharmas tatha krishnah. Yata krishna tatho jayah. Thank you all.
Thank you. Good night.